it's a question that gets asked a lot every week, and I generally try to point people toward the Discord. The people are like, how do I get good? How do I start out? Where do I meet people? How do I network? You know, these sort of, they're not beginner questions. They're like coming up and on your way up sort of questions. And I think what you just said there is probably the best possible answer. And we say it a lot, which is you just have to do it a lot, and you have to do it a lot you have to be enjoying the process of what you're doing without any positive feedback. I mean, it's just the reality of, and it's the reality of all creative industries. And it's also the reality of, like, you look at someone like Steph Curry, who's having an MVP season at 33. I don't know how many people are big basketball fans. I'm an Oakland kid, so, you know.
I'm not, but I heard this over the weekend, like how exciting this is, you know.
And he's a guy who is, you watch his warm-up routine before the games, and it's more insane than any basketball I've ever played. Like, he's a guy who's just put in so much time by himself. John, me, anybody who's doing anything at somewhat of a high level, and I realize I just analogized us to Steph Curry, which is hilarious. Didn't mean that. But, like, the people that are really great at what they do have just put in a huge amount of time without people going, yeah, you should be doing that. Great. Like, having a career in music or a career in sports, these things that are very competitive, and also they're very competitive. They require a huge amount of time by yourself getting good. So you have to figure out that process for yourself. A friend of mine years ago said, you have to make art for its own sake. Like, you can't be making things hoping that people will encourage you along the way, because there's people out there that are doing it by themselves. And that's how I did it for years and years and years. I made so many things, and still to this day, because I'm not just a mixer. You know, the vast majority of the things you do will come out into the world. And that's one of the reasons you've said before that you turned over to being a mixer rather than being a producer and a writer, because as a producer and writer, I'd say the majority of things I work on that I create never see the light of day. And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm used to that. I enjoy the process of trying a bunch of things that don't work, working with artists that, you know, don't use my song. It's a joy when things come out, and having success is great. But I did it for something like 17 or 18 years before there was big feedback from business or the industry or anything like that. And I think that's the only way to survive this thing. So whether you're a mixer or you're a songwriter or whatever, you got to go mix and write hundreds, maybe even thousands of songs before you'll get consistently good. And that's actually, well, before you get consistently good. The other question I was going to ask you, and I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way, I think you feel confident in saying that you can pretty confidently, consistently mix good sounding records or records to your satisfaction. How many songs do you think you mixed? Just number of songs, or even if you mix a song twice, let's count that as 2 mixes. How many mixes did you do before you're like, I feel confident in consistently making good things? Oh my God,
thousands.
So, but 2,000 maybe? So this is an important thing for people going like, how do I make my stuff sound good? Mix 2,000 songs.
Yeah, at least.
I mean, that's a big fucking number.
Yeah.
You know, so he said I remix old sessions just for practice. I was doing that. You know, I think I recorded my first band somewhere around age 12, and I remember mixing things on, like, in my basement studio when I was 16 or 17. And then when I got new gear and got a new laptop and started moving on to computers when I was 19, I went back and remixed old stuff. And I don't think it was till my mid-20s until I was like, okay, I think I can do this pretty consistently. And still would produce some things that weren't that great and whatever, but like, that's like 13 years of making records all the time before I was like, okay, I think I'm getting a handle on this. And even then, I look back at stuff I did when I was 25 and I'm like, oh, that's, you know, I didn't know how to do this or that, but it's 1,000 years. So the only way to, again, we talk about no shortcuts. The only way to get through that is to just do it, is to just put in the time. Thousands, huh?
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.